First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the MSBA monthly report.
Welcome to the June edition of the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report. We begin with a look back at the legislative session that wrapped up last month. Education issues once again dominated headlines and talking points throughout this year's session. MSBA's Director of Outreach, Caitlin Whaley, says that while the legislature's FY26 budget has some good news, there's also reason for caution.
The legislature passed their FY26 budget this year, which included some funding highlights, including fully funding the foundation formula, baseline teacher salary grant, and school transportation. While it's exciting that we have a fully funded foundation formula, we do want to encourage you to budget cautiously, as the governor does have the power to withhold funding anytime he predicts revenues might not meet projected expenditures. So just work closely with your superintendents, and for any questions, you can reach out to our very own Linda Quinley.
Caitlin says that the passage of Senate Bill 68 provided some positive fixes for public education after last year's passage of 727.
Some of the legislation passed this year was Senate Bill 68, which included a lot of provisions related to K-12 education. Some of them were really positive fixes that were necessary after last year's passage of 727, such as fixing the 169-day school year calendar, allowing for exceptions due to inclement weather. And included in other legislation was also a cell phone ban. We know that you all are very curious about how this will impact you, and our policy department has been working hard to make sure that you have the latest and most up-to-date policy. I do want to note that cell phone policy was already included for those of you who use MSBA's policy services, but they are working to put out a standalone policy just to make sure that everyone is in compliance with this if you use our policy services.
Missouri parents may soon have a better understanding of whether their child is performing at or above grade level on the state's standardized test under a sweeping education bill.
Another exciting change is the inclusion of a new category in the MAP test ratings. So now there will be 5 categories, with one of those being grade level. There was confusion previously as the actual grade level laid somewhere in the basic, and this led to people misrepresenting performance of our students. We want to make sure that we are accurately representing how well our students are doing in school, and we're hopeful that the inclusion of this new level of grade level will bring clarity for not only administrators and parents, but also you as school board members as you're assessing how your students are doing.
And although the session is over, Caitlin says it's still important for board members and administrators to stay in touch with their legislators.
Now that the legislature is out for regular session, we encourage you to reach out to your local legislators and invite them to tour your schools. Back to school events are great times to get them inside your schools and see the wonderful work that you're doing.
MSBA's legislative positions on state and federal education issues are determined at the Delegate Assembly that will be meeting this coming October. If your school board has a position statement on an issue that you would like to submit to the Advocacy Committee for consideration, you can do so this summer. The Advocacy Committee reviews those proposals and makes recommendations to the Delegate Assembly that determines MSBA's position on issues. Make your plans now to attend the 2025 MSBA Annual Conference in cooperation with the Missouri Association of School Administrators and the Missouri Association of School Business Officials, to be held October 24th and 25th in Kansas City. The event will once again feature outstanding general session speakers along with a wide variety of concurrent sessions, many presented by school leaders from districts throughout the state. Registration information for the conference will be posted on the MSBA website soon. And past and present members of local school boards can be nominated for the 2025 Paul Morris Community Service Award. The award is for those who have shown an outstanding commitment to local community service. Nominations will be accepted through June 27th, and the award will be presented at the MSBA Annual Conference. And finally, if you've been following MSBA's social media pages, you've seen many of the regional winners of MSBA's Future Builders Student Scholarships. Congratulations to all of the regional winners and to Aiden Cox of Sykeston Senior High School, who is also the statewide winner. All of these students' essays are on the MSBA website. These outstanding students truly exemplify the amazing teaching and learning happening in every corner of the state. That's it for this month. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and we'll see you in July for the next MSBA Board Report.
The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda item.
Sorry. I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public participation. I have no emails. Next, we have the report of the superintendent.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Welcome back. First up on my report is notes of appreciation. I believe you have one in there in your board pack. I did want to remind everyone that we have a couple board meetings coming up that aren't at our traditional time. July 22nd, we moved it back a week in order to sync up with what we're doing this month and what we have to do in August. We moved it back a week in August because we have to set the tax rate and we're waiting for information in order to do that. So July 22nd, the board meeting will be at the Early Childhood Center, and Bailey has some open house activities planned earlier that day for people in the community that want to come out and see the Early Childhood Center. I believe the last furniture was delivered today, and it's shaping up. I've been out there several times. We've got some youngsters out there at summer school, extended school year, so backpacks are hanging on the hooks now, and they're running around in the multi-purpose room, and it's really nice to see. So July 22nd, set your calendars for that. August 26th, our board meeting will follow the tax rate hearing. And then I wanted to inquire to the board about September 16th. If our board meeting is on August 26th, September 16th is 3 weeks later. And if we move it to September 23rd, that would be 4 weeks, and then if we look at the next month, it would be another 4 weeks. So I didn't know if you'd be interested in that. We'd be meeting the third week and then waiting 5 weeks until the next time.
I see. Go for it.
Okay, then I'll
The 23rd? Yeah. Your ID's at 23rd.
I'll go ahead and make that change, and we'll keep that on our board meetings to remind everyone about that change.
So it'll be September 23rd.
Correct.
Yes.
And August 20th.
No, it's 26th. So the open house activities at the Early Childhood Center, that day actually, or weeks coming up to it?
Yeah, Bailey, do we have a start time?
It'll be afternoon. What we're hoping to do is have the ribbon cutting earlier afternoon, which we go into the tours, which we then go into the board.
Good, okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Next on the agenda, we have transportation report from Mr. Ken Jones. He's here this evening to share some fantastic information with us.
How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'll tell you this, this year flew by. So we're 1 month from the first time I sat in here with all of you, and I can't believe we're here already with this. So there's a little picture. That was, I believe, pretty early in the year there, just after we started getting some of the St. Genevieve County R2s on some of the school buses there, and a bunch of good-looking youngins there. Bailey put this in there. I told her to take it out. Everybody knows who I am by now, although I will tell you that she done such a nice job on that. Even my wife said she would hire me. So here's a little bit. These people right here are the everyday, full-time people out there, and I'm going to brag on them quite a bit and a little bit more later on. But most of them were with Fowler for a very long time, and I know a lot of you know a lot of them. But they were an integral part of the transition this year, and making it the success that it really was. So yeah, we have about 32 to 35 buses that we're using all the time, running right around 28 routes. But when you factor in your extracurricular trips and such. That's about where we're at. We got 5 vans now, and I'm going to touch on that just a little bit more. That ended up being quite the transition this year, and big fan of how that's going there. 37 employees in our department, always looking for more. We are currently just had a gentleman pass his permit yesterday, so we are training someone, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing there. All right. So a little bit of the groundwork here. So when I got in, I kind of got to know people, kind of get the lay of the land and what was going on out there at the transportation department. One thing that we did immediately was, and big time help from Bailey, was getting the information out there. Not only was everyone in the transportation department wondering what's this going to look like, but your people, your students, their parents were wondering what this was going to look like. So got a lot of that information out there. I think it was about as smooth as could be expected. One of the things that I got on very early was working on route descriptions. Your route descriptions were quite a bit behind, especially in a sense that a guy with a bus driver's license like myself, I could not have gone out and done your routes. By looking at those, I'm probably at about 75% done with those. We did not get them all done this year. I ended up having to drive a bus here and there, and quite a bit. And then I also told Dr. Taylor, if I got those all done, you wouldn't have had to bring me back this year. So, and this ended up being a big deal here. The new drop-off plan. This day we came in, this picture was actually taken by Dr. Taylor. That's the arrangement that we put into place with the new construction that was going on. And this ended up being way more than what I thought it would be. I'm so glad we came in that day to do this. We got this out to the teachers, got this out to the staff before the first day of school, because this was quite a bit different than what was going on here in previous years. It worked out very well. So I end up being very glad we come and took the time to get that done. And I'm assuming this.
If I'm not mistaken, this was on Saturday,
This is on Saturday, yeah.
and it was Mr. Jones, Corey Schwint,
James, Buck,
James Ack,
and Mary Ellen.
Buck.
Mary Ellen shuttled us back
Mary
and
Ellen was
forth.
shuttling it back and forth, and they would bring
So
the
you guys-
buses over. And then at the end of it, they had to shuttle them all back.
Yeah,
So it was quite the.
it was,
quite
but
the
it
project.
ended up being very necessary and really helped out. And from all those efforts, I'm assuming this may be different and I hope it's different when we start up the next school year.
Better mark off Saturday.
If we'll have a new lineup.
So yeah, communication plan. I can't brag enough on the school and how far ahead of some districts you guys are and how your information gets out. And in fact, I have other DOTs, a lot in Jefferson County, that are following what we're doing. This is some of the things that were posted throughout the year, not only on Facebook, but the website and such. Always looking, we get this out here quite a bit. Come join our bus team. We are currently at full staff for next year. We have all of our routes covered. I will say, just last week, I thought we were there. Then another day happened, we were one short, but now we're back to with this new gentleman of being where we need to start day one. So hopefully that stays the same. But with that being said, we are always looking for new drivers. One of our biggest issues is because your PM routes, there's some days here, because you guys are a nice high school and you have all sorts of activities for the kids, and that's great. But those activities pull PM route drivers. So we can cover for sure about 3 to 4 trips. But we had some of those what I call perfect storm days. When you get to 5 or 6, that's when I'm calling and juggling and calling Dr. Boyd and different people over there. So Dr. Nix, okay, I'm gonna need 15 minutes here. Help us out on that. But that's a constant work, and that's not privy to St. Genevieve. I can tell you that the Dunklin School District ended up having to outsource 3 of their routes. Festus was at 5 routes that they had to outsource by the end of the school year. So it's a statewide issue. But we made it, and right now we're ready to roll for day one. And a lot of you saw this. It's Craig Gibbs over there at Valley Catholic. We stayed in touch. We sold them the 2 buses for $2, and they occasionally give us calls on how to maintain and stay ahead on their school bus. And we'll continue to do that. So, van rental. This ended up being a really big deal. So we purchased 1 van when I got here, and you had a couple vans over here. We brought all the vans to the depot. So we are servicing the vans now. We are taking care of them, keeping them clean. With Chrissy and Mary Ellen and such, we have a system for checking out the vans, and it's really serves a lot of purposes. Not only they're more efficient than taking a bus when you don't have to take a bus, but then you also don't have to take a bus driver. So we got a lot of compliments, and I'd give a shout out to Debbie Weeberry on this, because she really stayed up on the fueling, keeping them clean, and just the checkout system was pretty flawless. And the one thing that we're doing now with the vans is I think you guys were paying somewhere around the lines of around $150 or so to Enterprise, and then of course fuel anytime you had to do this before. So what we're doing now is it's $50 if you take a van, and if you fill it up, great. If not, we can do that as well. And then we're taking that $50 and putting it into an SA account so that it's building back up. So when it's time to purchase a new van, it's self-sufficient. So Enterprise isn't getting our money anymore. Yeah, all sorts of extracurriculars there. This is one of the places that we were able to save some money. One of the things I found was fuel's crazy expensive, as you all know. Last year's, before I got here, all of your fuel was coming from about 1 supplier, and we moved it to 4. And that can be significant, because there was times that from the lead fuel sales to who was the highest from the lowest, sometimes we were 30, 35 cents per gallon difference. And when we order fuel, we're ordering 7,000 gallons of diesel. So you can imagine the savings that we saw sometimes. And the other thing, this program here was introduced. It's called the WEX program. So we have several drivers that live in the Bloomsdale area, and many times they don't bring their bus back to the depot because it makes more sense. They live closer to their route. And the Phillips 66 in the Bloomsdale area is a WEX associate. So if they don't want to come all the way back to the depot, they're not in the area for a while, they can fill up at the Phillips 66. And the WEX program essentially is like a credit card, but you end up not having to pay around the 26 to 28 cents of federal tax that's on every gallon of gas that we all buy. So that definitely saves some money for us there too. We also got some of those cards for central office if they ever needed to fuel up when they're taking out some of the vehicles. This was in the fall, and it just caught my eye that morning. I was out kind of making sure everybody was getting going, and I just thought, wow, what a morning. I took that picture there. Here's our fall bus evacuation drills. So we did there's 2 mandatory evacuation drills that you have to do throughout the year. One is K through 12. The other is actually K through 6. We went ahead and went K through 8. So this was the fall one here. I believe these pictures are from the Bloomsdale area, and that the driver's kind of going over the evacuation drill. In the spring, we did what's called a front door evacuation, because we wait till, in the fall we did a front door. In the spring, we wait to do the back door when the kindergartners are just a little bit older. Route efficiency, yeah, this was an area that we were able to eliminate 2 routes this year. Now this is a delicate situation. It's something that we're going to continue to look at. I hope that we can maybe do a little bit more in the future, but St. John it's complicated because you have 2 different schools, and then you also the distance makes it very tough. So, but we were able to reduce by 2 routes. One we did early on in the fall. The other came in the spring. And that's something that Dr. Taylor and I were actually just talking about the other day. We're looking forward to see how that kind of helps with our route efficiency numbers. We had quite the winter out, as you all know. All 3 bays, we have a 3-bay depot out there. All 3 bays at one point had ice all the way across by the time we got all the tops of those. Yeah, we spent 2 to 3 days chipping and getting that ice off of those buses so that when Dr. Taylor said we're going, we were ready to go.
Are our base
Yes. Annual bus inspections. This is maybe one of my proudest moments of the year. We scored a 97.6% on our annual bus inspection, beating all schools in Jefferson County. Notice I point that out because that's this is largely goes back to, and this is a picture of our a lot of our staff there. But we have 2 mechanics out there, James Ash and Corey Swint. They're phenomenal. They do a really good job on what is an old fleet. And Debbie Weeberry and Buck, and it's Mike Jokers, as many of you know, put a lot of time into. This is a full day event, and it's stressful. This is a situation that if you're not prepared, they can take your buses out of the fleet that day. So we work on that all year long, but when you get about 6 weeks out, you really start preparing for this. And I'm very happy, obviously, with this. Beat Perry County, and there was only 1 school in the MI AAA that did slightly better than us, but they have less buses than us. So, but that was a very good year. This is some pictures here of what this kind of looks like. They get in there and they front to back, inside and out, and it's just amazing what might get you sometimes on this. And when you check them and you check them, we only had 1 bus that had one little ding on it. So I was very proud of this accomplishment. As I said, we did the spring bus evacuations, K through 8, and then we did the back door there so that they know how to not only go out the front, but how to evacuate out of the back. Kindergartners did fine there, junior high boys not so much. Well, this is our new addition. We were able to got a little bit of money from Miss Drury and her department. We had a $20,000 insurance. I believe you guys had some hail damage from before I got here. And then I sold one of the buses that we had out there that we were not using. And we took that money and we bought a brand new 10-passenger van. The 10 is significant, okay? So a 12-passenger van or anything above that is illegal to transport students with. Now, do you see it? Yeah, other schools do it, but it is not the code. So this is an actual 10-passenger van. We just got it about a month ago. She is a beaut. I can actually get inside and I can stand up in it, the clearance that's on it. We're going to keep it in reserve as far as, because I was a special ed teacher for 12 years. So I know the needs of special education and how they can change on a dime. And especially in St. John, because if you talk about within 2 weeks, maybe adding a student in Goose Creek and then one somewhere down in Mendon, you have issues real quick. So with that being said, we get to put this in reserve for now if we were to need it for special ed, but we'll definitely end up using it to help out with some of the extracurricular. with the account that we now have with the rental of the vans, and we're going to be building that up. My goal would be to get one more of these, and then we'd be sitting in a really good situation transportation-wise. Bus purchases, I believe you guys probably went over that before I got here. We dove into it pretty hard. We ended up going with Thomas Bus. They kind of fell in the middle as far as pricing, but Thomas Bus is well known for being a quality bus. That is the type of bus that we already have out at the depot. So excited to be getting some of those, I hope. I don't know the minutes yet. Oh, this was a fun day. Come drive a bus day. We had several people in here come and check that out. I will say this. So we had one person come that wasn't affiliated with the school. And I thought she was going to call back. She actually went on, did you see that? She actually went on Facebook on the comments and wrote, great experience. So I saw the comments. I had to click on it. She said, great experience. I'm like, yeah, we got her. And I still haven't seen her yet. But the next slide is pretty neat. I have gotten a lot of comments from other schools about our video. Turn that to run. Let it run through its cycle real quick. You're good. Now you can turn that all the way to start. There you go. Look at all your mirrors. Okay? Because they tell the story. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to have you cut just around this bus, so you want to get out a little bit. Okay, now you can start turning. Just always remember the most important pedal is your brake. Now, I taught driver's education for about 15 years, and that is the most important pedal.
We need that.
Budget check-in. So it looks like, and I know most of you know this, so I'll be pretty quick. I think the first, this estimate this year, you were looking at thinking this was going to be somewhere around 2.175. We fell in at 1.485. So you had a savings this year about $690,000. Some of that came with getting rid of a couple unnecessary routes. Some of it was just checking in on the purchasing and saving money where we could save money there. And then this one here was, I believe you paid Fowler last year 1.879. This year was actually 1.485, and that was with the $300,000 that you're paying for purchasing the depot. Am I saying that correctly over there? So still in the good by almost $400,000, and 4 more payments on the depot after 4 more. So in 4 more years, you guys will really be sitting in a good spot out there. And there's some of our people there. We got some transportation shirts. Some of our drivers. There's that lady up there in the picture with me. That's Mary Ellen Brown. She is amazing. Knows everyone. And I've not found someone that she didn't know yet. And that really makes things go smoothly out there when we get phone calls and questions and such. Talked a little bit about need for drivers, and we're working on that. I'm going to stay on top of it. And a big thank you, and that's for me. It was couldn't have gone better as far as for my eyes. I'm thankful and blessed to be here. From central office, all the ladies of the central office, the administrators, principals, assistant principals, directors of student services, Dr. Taylor. Thank you guys so much for bringing me down and giving me another year. And I'm very fortunate that's one of our bus drivers and one of the aides that rides the bus with her. And got a lot of good people out there, and I appreciate the opportunity. Now, any questions for me?
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Great job.
Thank you.
No.
We don't know if you're getting Thomas buses yet. They haven't voted.
Okay.
That was a good pitch, though. Good pitch.
Up next on the superintendent report is what used to be Backpacks for Friday, but now we've transitioned that to Care to Learn, which Backpacks for Friday is. So we asked Ms. Stephanie Gegg to come in and give us an update. She came last year and gave us an update on our first foray with Care to Learn, and then Dr. Clark's going to.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So we started this a year ago, March. So we had our first full school year of Care to Learn, and really got to feel like how all it could help. We were, I think I told you guys about this last year. Care to Learn set up 2 anonymous donors for us that matched up to $35,000 of our donations, anything that we fundraised. We did meet that by December, in large part due to incorporating the Friday Backpack Program. And we were able to use those donations to then get that matching grant money, or that matching donation money. And so we now have a lot of funds to work with, and it's really been amazing, honestly, for our school. So again, Care to Learn is meeting any needs that, for any of our students, that is health, hunger, and hygiene related. There are other things that we could use those funds for. It's just that, like right now, DESE has a grant that they provide, and as long as it falls in line with that health, hunger, and hygiene, DESE is actually reimbursing. So this past year, that grant lasted all the way through March. It started in July and then ran out as of about the end of March. They are hopeful that it will be approved again for this coming school year, and we will know that in July. So what that basically means, almost anything that we spend out that is health, hunger, or hygiene related through Care to Learn is refunded back to us from this DESE grant. So we're not really digging very hard into our pot of money that we have fundraised and those donations at this point. So that has been really, really good. So this year, I was able to do so much with Care to Learn. We did things like crutch tips. We had a student who was he was on a pair of crutches. They had worn through. He was slipping. And I was able to run over to CVS and literally purchase them and bring them into school. And the nurses were able to put them on, and he was safe from falling, which was an amazing thing. We had with, there were some changes with Medicaid this school year that resulted in some families having a lapse in their Medicaid coverage, which meant then kids didn't have their medication. And we had a handful of those that were kind of going on a couple of months trying to get their Medicaid reinstated, and weren't able to pay for the medications. And Care to Learn was able to help us with that, and we were able to then pay for those medications just so those kids didn't have that lapse in medications, which was great. We were able to purchase glasses. We do have a Lions Club that does help purchase glasses for a lot of our kids, but sometimes what will happen is they may need them for home, but it's also really good for them to have a pair at school. So they're not carrying them back and forth. They're not worried about them getting broken or forgotten. So we were able to help out with that in a couple of situations. And then a bigger thing that we were able to help with was a lot of pest control. We did some animal pet flea and tick medication. We did some home exterminations for several families. And so we were able to help meet a lot of those needs, because it really does impact the student. It impacts, them in the classroom, but also at home if they've got bug bites and things like that. And we were able to help kind of eliminate those problems. We were able to, this year, build a collaboration with Save a Lot to be able to do a voucher program. So I write out the voucher for however much for a family, and they're able to take it to Save a Lot. Purchase their grocery or get their groceries, submit this voucher, and then Save a Lot just sends a statement. And I send the statement to Care to Learn, and it's reimbursed. So they're able to go out and then purchase their own groceries. It's been a kind of like twofold really great, because it was hard for me to get out and like grocery shop for families, or to even, do where I could do a Walmart pickup order, but a lot of families couldn't get out of town to get to Walmart, things like that. So by doing this, it ensured that the families were able to purchase what they needed, what they wanted, and they all were very, very happy with that. We've been able to maintain all of our food drawers that are available in my office, the counselors' offices, some of the secretaries in the main offices are holding on to some snacks to give to a teacher if like a student doesn't have something. And then even the nurses have used it, surprisingly, because they may have a kiddo that is low blood sugar or is having some issues with their diabetes, and then they're able to grab a snack for those as well. So we did have a collaboration with 4-H and FFA to be able to do holiday food bags at Christmas, but we were able to do Easter food bags, spring break food bags, and end of school year food bags, all through Care to Learn. We did pay off a few negative lunch balances in instances where it might have impacted kids being able to graduate from high school because of they had a negative balance. We then were able to buy laundry detergent and fabric softener, pull-ups for some families, hygiene products, body wipes, all those kind of things. One of the biggest purchases that I was quite proud of this year was we were able to buy an actual washer and dryer to have here. Oh, that is just for us and any of our students. So our students can bring in their clothing. And nurses are able to then donate out sometimes clothing and take it back soiled, wash it in our washer and dryer, and then have it available for the students again. So that is now, we've got 2 sets. One is currently settled down in the middle school, lower hallway in the janitor's closet where it's close to the nurses, but also for middle school and high school to use. We purchased a second set for the elementary. And that's going to be installed once the elementary remodel is completed and we're able to put those in. So that's been really great. And then, of course, like any kind of emergent needs, we have restocked our clothing closets and maintained those with a variety of shoe sizes, leggings, athletic shorts, all of those kind of things, coats and gloves, socks, underclothes. But even if like we don't have something on hand, a student needs something, we're able to quickly purchase that and order it in from Amazon or Walmart or Sam's, and then have that for the kids. We even went so far as to get like a weighted vest for a student because that fell underneath a health need. It's just been really pretty amazing. Like anytime, and I called them, and Care to Learn is amazing as an organization. I'm able to just like call them or send them a quick email and say, hey, does this qualify? Is this something that works? And they're like, absolutely, go for it. Spend that money. So, and I have actually taken them up on that. So it has been really amazing and pretty much we were working off of a very small budget before and meeting needs, but now it's just kind of open the doors. And it's for every student, and I've never been able to hardly turn anyone away and be able to help out students and families, and they've been so amazingly thankful. So, and I really haven't had anybody who's been like overused or asked more times. I mean, they're all just, these families are just so thankful, and they don't ever just abuse it. So it's been great. Care to Learn gathered up a few statistics for me because, like I said, I put everything into spreadsheets that they created, and then they're able to kind of keep like a tally and log of what we're spending and how much how many needs they're meeting. But they said this year, basically, between all of our clothing closets, our food cabinets, our hygiene bills, and then meeting all of those needs, we met about 13,467 needs this school year in our school district. And the Care to Learn had their contributions, that $35,000, but also we went to the Care to Learn conference and filled out a survey and did a couple of things. But with those things, they gave us some like their bonus money of about $1,500, so they contributed. And then the state funding that we got back through that DESI grant was about $27,750. So like I said, it's been really pretty amazing. Next slide. So as far as fundraising, so like I said, they have helped us out to get like kind of like started, but we then have to do a fair amount of fundraising ourselves. And so we had all of these wonderful donors this past year. We did send out request letters. We did I think it's called Caring Tuesday, I'm trying to remember. But it was a day in December where we strongly encouraged anybody to donate. So we got some individual donations as well. But we also sent it out to some of the businesses that the school district works with. And a lot of people did give back, and we had quite a few donors this year, which was amazing. So. We also did a fundraiser with one of our classes where $1 from each t-shirt that was created and sold through that class went to Care to Learn. And we're talking about next year doing a fundraiser where we're just going to be selling like St. Jen swagwear and get your start out the school year, get your all new swagwear and
Yeah. So Backpacks for Friday was moved under the umbrella of Care to Learn. That way it gave us some seed money to start with, and then we got that matching grant. So that really helped up with us being able to be more proactive with the giving that's happened. Typically, we would give you a Backpacks for Friday update in December. But it was always wonky with like who was giving, and it's not the end of the year, but we're giving an update. So we've moved it to this time of year so then we can give you an update of here's how the program went all year, here's what's coming up for next year. And so then we'll be able to also recognize some of the people that gave without missing any, because we would always tell you who gave from, I believe, June to May, and then we would end up having to leave people off from that first 6 months of the school year, and they're like, well, I gave money, why aren't you recognizing me? So that's part of the reason we moved it to here. But we have partnered with the Southeast Missouri Food Bank. This has been going on for quite a while, and they've been great to work with. Their price did increase just a little bit, not by much. So one backpack is $350, and the food bank covers $60 of that. And so that provides 36 weeks of food for students, and that starts in September. And we identify students. We rely primarily on the counselors in the elementary or in the secondary buildings, and then also administrators that kind of recommend. And then the counselors would follow up, or Ms. Geck will follow up with the families like, would you want this? This is a program that exists. And some people will take it on for a couple weeks and say, we're good, we're back on our feet. And other people will say, no, we don't need it, we're fine, but thank you for thinking of us. So it does end in May, which is another good reason why we have Care to Learn, to kind of help out with some of the extra stuff as well. But we're funded primarily through donations. And Care to Learn has helped us in the last little bit with the matching donations. So that's really made people's donation go the extra mile. So in 24-25, we had 55 backpacks. And so when you multiply that out, that's $19,250. Next year, with the price increase, I think it will go up to $19,600. And I think we're adding one more backpack. So the food bank covers $3,850 of that, and you can see that we get 21 backpacks for Bloomsdale and 34 for St. Jen Elementary. And these are our donors. These are donors that have donated from June 2024 up until the end of May. So people that donate this month, we will make sure we recognize them for giving next year. But you'll see, just like the Care to Learn, we have employees, we have businesses, we have community members giving. So it comes from all different areas, and we really rely on them. We've talked about different ways to promote the ability for our employees to give back through contributions and know that they can do that through their paychecks. So that's something we're also exploring too. I know they get hit up with t-shirt sales and everything else. So we're also mindful of that, but we do appreciate everybody that's given. And a lot of these names are names that are on here year after year after year. So we do appreciate their partnership. And so we also want to give a special thanks to our STARS program. They coordinate it with the packing of the items. We'll get a big pallet, and they've got to separate them out and then put them in the actual backpacks and ready to go, so they know, okay, this week, here's this week's backpack, and here's Bloomsdale's, and here's St. Genevieve's. And the maintenance department takes those out to Bloomsdale for us, so we definitely rely on them. And then Miss Grimminger and Miss Kingery and Miss Rowland, as I said, they help organize and deliver it, and they oversee the program at the building level as well. And then, of course, the building administration, they continue to support that program and help keep it running. And so as we have transitioned to Care to Learn, we've told people they can still make Backpack for Friday contributions if they want to donate specifically to that program. That was one of the pieces that we wanted to make sure still existed. We didn't want it to just become Care to Learn, because all that effort had been built to create that Backpack for Friday program. So we wanted to still keep that account a little bit separate, so we are still aware of what that is. So if anyone's interested, they can contact me in my email, and they can write a check to Care to Learn and have it tax exempt as well. They just need to, in the memo line, say Backpacks for Friday if they want it to go specifically for Backpacks for Friday. But for Care to Learn,
As far as Care to Learn, anything else that if anybody wants more information about it, they can obviously contact me just to like learn more about what all Care to Learn does. Or the same kind of thing, they can make a check out at any time to Care to Learn St. Genevieve, and that would be deposited in to meet all of those needs here to help make our students successful. So.
and I will say the Care to Learn, in addition to the matching grants, it allows Ms. Geck flexibility to meet those needs of the students immediately instead of having to go through red tape, and it just allows her to cut to the chase and say, what do you need, let's get it for you. So that's been a blessing.
It has like, you know, just even like someone can, a teacher, a counselor, a nurse, anybody can just reach out to me and say, hey, this is what we need, and I can get on to Walmart, order, Amazon, order, and have it shipped and or delivered within a day or two. It's been really amazing. Do you guys have any questions about it?
No, I just want to thank you and tell you what an amazing person you are for doing this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great job. Yeah, right.
Next up on the superintendent's report is the 24-25 end of year summary reports. They are linked there in my presentation as well as in your board packet. It would take probably 2 evenings to go through all of them. But they are important because it shows us the accomplishments throughout the year. I guess next year we're going to have to add an early childhood center.
Yes, right.
So that's exciting as well. But the principals spend a significant amount of time collecting all of this information and organizing it. So that's in your packet for you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
They are fun to read.
Yes. All right, thanks, sir. Next, we have unfinished business, and the first and only item there is a Prop SG update.
Bailey was kind enough to put together some verbiage for me, which I usually forget. I'm going to try to stay on track. The Early Childhood Center is substantially complete and still on track to open for the 25-26 school year. They are currently working on knocking down the 6-foot tall weeds, getting the ground ready for seed and straw. It's in really good shape. Like I said earlier, the last furniture delivery came in today. That looks like an AI picture, but that's the actual facility.
Yeah.
The pour-in place went in. They came back and fixed a couple different areas. You can see the bike track, which is actual pour-in place, not a concrete track, for kids to stay on. Bethany did decide to make that one way. She didn't think it was good with preschool kids traffic going back and forth. So it's going to be a one-way lane now.
I was up there, some big weeds, I thought, oh, that city administrator assistant. Doesn't say anything, because those things are tall. But we didn't hear anything. I leave that to Gene.
There you go.
Looks great.
Up in the upper left, that's the nurses moving into the new nurses office out there, taking some things out there. You can see some of the new furniture on the right there in the upper right. And then down in the bottom right, you can see those backpacks hanging in the hall. That was exciting to see. July 22nd, before the Board of Education regular meeting, we will have open houses out there, ribbon cutting event, and tours of the facility. We'll share more details as we get closer to that date, and we will also hold the Board of Education meeting at the Early Childhood Center next month too. So, in that multi-purpose room is where we will hold the board meeting. Moving on to St. John Elementary. The main entrance is looking fantastic. It is going to be open for the return to school for next year. Green metal panels have been installed on the exterior. The elevator has passed inspection. The new gym had its last coat of polyurethane on it, and after 10 to 14 days passed, they're going to install the bleachers. Sidewalks and handicap parking have been installed out front of the new addition. Renovation in the old gymnasium continues. I walked through today and they had put the first coat of mud on all of the drywall. It's coming along nicely. Those should be ready for the start of school as well. We've reached out to the city of St. John requesting they check out the junction of Maple Drive in Virginia to determine where a stop sign could be placed. I think this goes back to the Early Childhood Center. Up at the top of that road, it was just a right-hand turn, so there was no need for a stop sign. Now we have a throughway. I called Happy the other day, kind of gave him a heads up. They said they were going to go take a look at it and see what made sense, where a stop sign made sense. That's our terrazzo floor at St. John Elementary. Great. There's our new gymnasium. If you notice the volleyball nets up in the ceiling, there will be no putting up and taking down volleyball. They fold the basketball goals fold up, and then the volleyball nets fold down, and they are ready to go. Office space. Those steps, bottom left and right, are where the old concrete steps used to be at the entryway to the elementary. Those were ripped out. Those new steps went in, and the elevator is off to the right there in the bottom right. And the doors at the top of that stairway used to be the entryway to the elementary. That's where it was.
Sure has.
The bottom two pictures are the new classrooms in the old gymnasium that we are retrofitting. They'll look a little more like classrooms when we get the drop ceiling.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty tall right now. Any questions about Prop SG projects or progress? We will, yes. We do need a tour.
Any progress with the wrestling facility? Has it started? Any?
Yes, the wrestling facility is going out to bid.
I think so.
It is going out to bid next week, and the bid openings will be July 8th, July 7th or 8th. I did receive an email today from one of the architects. They're wanting to, if we never do another boring on this campus, I would be completely happy, but architects are forever wanting more boring holes to determine what kind of dirt will be next to the facility to make sure it's stable. I can't really argue with and tell them I want no more holes. Because as soon as I say that, it's not going to be stable and it's going to be my fault. So I just approved a couple more borings to make sure we do have a severe drop off on the back right of that facility down behind the pack, down towards the javelin throw. So we're going to get those in. It shouldn't impact when we go out to bid or when those bids come in or when we're going to start construction. So hopefully that first week of July we'll have bids in and have a good idea of who's getting what work and put together a timeline.
And last question, lights in the baseball field, are those going up as soon as the season's over, before August, or what's the plan with those?
They have a storage facility down there with some lights and equipment in it. I think Robbie told me when he finished with the football field lights that they had planned on fall after all the summer tournaments were done. Actually, I don't think they're going to fit it in before the baseball season. I think, is it? Yeah, it is fall. It's fall.
Still will be done for baseball.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Next, we have new business, and the first item there are food service prices for 25-26.
In your package, you'll see a calculation sheet that allows us to get to the numbers you see on the screen. I just like to provide some historical perspective on where the state says we should be. They'll tell us where we should be, and then we're only allowed to go up 10 cents. So we never get to where we should be. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that the reduced prices have not changed in 2 years. Full pay has went up 10 cents again this year. So for elementary, middle school, high school, full pay breakfast is $2. For lunch, elementary is $3.30, and middle school, high school is $3.40.
And to reiterate, I ask this every year, you can't make them go any lower. I more so meant like the state says it has to be this price, correct?
Yeah, these are the prices. We have that calculation sheet that's in your board packet that tells us where we need to be, and we continually add 10 cents to try to get to where they say we can.
I'll make a motion to approve the food service prices for the 2025-26 school year as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have bid for food service bread.
We had 3 entities bid. While sandwich white and sandwich wheat are a little higher, the majority of what we use are going to be hamburger and hot dog, and those are significantly cheaper. So in discussions with Jordan, we recommend that Bimbo Bakeries be approved for that bid.
Where are they located at?
I'm not really sure where Bimbo Bakeries are, but happy to recommend Bimbo Bakeries for food.
It's just fun to say.
Oh,
So who did we have this year?
Bitters?
No, we had Flowers this year.
Holloway.
Holloway, okay. So Holloway, we had Holloway. And does Bimbo do
I know.
other schools and?
I'm not sure. I was not. Chrissy?
From what I understand, it is a national kind of company, but they have, I know they have a location in the St. Louis area. But they're all over. The person that actually bid, I think, was out in like North Carolina, maybe.
Oh.
But they do have online ordering and those things that Gordon's like, I kind of want to give them a chance because the price point and maybe that online ordering and all that stuff is beneficial.
Looks like they deal with like Thomas Bagels, Sara Lee bread, so.
All right.
Okay, well, yeah.
Approve the bread from Bimbo Bakeries for the 2025-26 school year.
Jim.
Do you need to repeat it? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the bid for food service milk.
Not quite as exciting. We just had one bidder. It's Prairie Farms and currently as well.
Motion to approve the milk bid for Prairie Farms for the 2025-26 school year.
Second. Go ahead.
Josh.
Yeah.
Josh.
That's fine.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Next, we have the bid for waste disposal services.
Spoke with Mr. Horn this morning. We kind of went through these together. We feel like the 3-year, it's always difficult to do this each year. You never know what those percentage raises are going to be. So in discussions with Mr. Horn, we thought maybe locking it in and trying this 3-year. He says Republic is very responsive whenever he calls and needs a pickup. They're here the next day. So recommendation is for that 3-year bid.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Not directly for Republic or the trash, but if we have a situation like this in the milk where there's only one that bids in, do we ever try to contact others? Not saying to do it, okay?
Situational. A lot of times, if we have a partner that we've been with for a long
Right.
time and they choose not to bid, we'll reach out, say, hey, you know, what's going on, is the situation change kind of thing. The majority of the time for a situation like this, probably. There are times when we reach out whenever it's bid, we want to make sure people know that we would like a bid from them, we'll reach out to them and send it to them individually.
So these Republic who we currently use as well?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I will say on the milk, towards the end, we got the back, like they wanted to bid it, it did not work.
Okay.
I was just curious.
How are we, when we talk about like waste management, how are we doing with recycling around here?
Still going on. We still have that recycling truck
Yeah?
out on the cafeteria that gets full, and I leave all the time saying needs to be backed up, not in there individually.
You're right.
So we're still working through that, and we take everything we can out. We still have the recycling bins in each classroom and the offices.
Okay.
Question about the trash in here. It has a lift per week at Yanks North and South and Leon's. Is that seasonal? Are they? We don't need to do that every.
I can answer that one as well. Sometimes I ask Mike the same thing when we're putting it out. They use that when it's off season for if they get full here before pickup time. They use that the offloads from the trash.
So maintenance will take it down there or something.
So that's the same thing as like when the ball fields aren't used. You really use it like that. Actually, we do.
Okay.
Correct. And I tried to summarize it here. This doesn't have all the information on it. Your packet will have that actual
Yeah.
bid tab with the specific information.
Bi-week.
Every 2 weeks.
I think that's gonna be good. Sorry.
I mean, that's gonna be a work in progress.
Okay.
I mean,
I have no idea, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, that's where we're gonna start.
yeah, I mean, you're thinking about the milk sitting in those dumpsters for 2 weeks on a hot August day. It's going to be.
Isn't it, am I reading that right, Chrissy, bi-weekly?
That's another one that says 2 weeks per week,
Yeah.
so I assume bi-week is every 2 weeks. But
I mean, it is what it is. That big path, I would think.
I don't know if you touched on, sorry, on the 1 year versus 3 year, but I know I had a conversation with Michael, so did you. You know, if we do the 3 year, it locks our current pricing for this year and for a year, and then there's a 7% increase year 2, and then another 7%. If we don't do that, then the 1 year, we're gonna get a rate increase the first year no matter what, and then it's just gonna continue to increase. And I solicited top-tier Woody, tried waste management.
that's what I was wondering, all those, and no one did.
Yeah, I tried everybody under the sun and nobody responded. We just get Republican every year, so it's kind of like a broke record, like, okay, we keep making you bid, maybe we give you a chance for that 3 year. And that's kind of how mine felt.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the bid for public services to provide waste disposal services to the district effective for a 3-year contract beginning July 1st, 2025.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the bid for elevator maintenance service.
This is going to be a fluid situation because when the bid package went out, it had 5 elevators on it. I think we're going to add 2 to that as these come online here. Because we added a middle school elevator and then we're adding that lift at the elementary. So Cardinal came in at $175 per elevator. And so for the 5 elevators that was on the bid package, came up to $875. Schindler came in at $1,350. There were pros and cons for both. We feel like Cardinal's worth a shot. Mike had a good conversation with the rep that came out. Feels like they're going to be conscientious. He even picked out some things on the elevator logs that were inaccurate and said this will not happen if we get the bid. It has to be by month. It has to be written down. So he feels like the paperwork is going to be much better with Cardinal.
And who do we have now? Oh, it's
Century.
And they didn't even
Recently got
rebid.
bought out.
What?
Century recently apparently got bought out.
And if there's something is wrong, does this maintenance cover it essentially?
No, this is for general maintenance. Schindler's was a little more thorough with the cleaning that they will do. Cardinal doesn't do the cleaning piece, and maintenance acted like it's not a big deal. They can show them how to do it, go in and do it. But it's more to identify small issues and fix those, but more importantly, recognize wear and tear that's going to lead to additional issues. I think there were 2 things identified that were on Schindler's bid package that need to be fixed. And so basically it's coming in just to check things out and make sure we're not missing anything regarding maintenance that needs to be updated before something really breaks.
I asked because when Jim and I were at Summer Summit, the elevators were broken. Yeah, so thankfully the service one works. We had to go back to where the workers go. Like you've seen everything, cafeteria, their laundry room, and go back to that elevator. It was a lot of walking just to get to it.
All kinds of things.
I'll make a motion to approve Cardinal Elevator to provide elevator full maintenance services for a period of 1 year, effective July 1.
Second.
Thanks, Martha.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? HVAC replacement at the middle school.
Yeah, that middle school unit, they've been limping along for quite a while. It got to the point where just replaced. We always reach out to Burns Mechanical and one other provider to give us just a budget number for what they think it might be, and then Mike comes over and we talk about it. When are we going to do it? Is it in the budget? We felt like we couldn't wait on this one, so Burns was the only one to bid on it. They were like $600 away from the original budget number that they did. So we would recommend placing that with Burns. As soon as they can get it in, the order, they have to order it, and then it takes sometimes 6-8 weeks to get it in. Our hope is this summer.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the bid of Burns Mechanical Havoc to complete the replacement of the Havoc system in the old middle school gymnasium.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Next, we have the bid for new bus purchases.
So we received 3 bids for new buses. Central States runs Bluebird, Midwest Bus Sales runs Thomas, and Midwest Transit runs International. So there are pros and cons with going, and I've talked to several superintendents a year ago about bus purchases because I wanted to put together a lease purchase bus purchasing plan so that I would have an idea what that annual cost would be. Every superintendent I talked to said you want to keep the same bus that you currently have in your fleet. You don't want to mix if at all possible. Because at the bus depot, then you're going to have to stock parts for 2 different brands of buses. We've traditionally been at Thomas Bus. Ballard has went with Thomas Bus. And our mechanics know Thomas buses inside and out. They're smart enough they could learn another one. But I think they'd be much happier if we went with Thomas. You can see that Midwest Bus Sales is coming in at 139,872, which is just a little bit higher than the Bluebird Vision at 137,942. And then Midwest Transit is 146,933. So our plan is to purchase 4 buses for this year. We don't think we're going to have to do a lease purchase. With the hail damage that we had, taking care of our roofing, and we were putting money in Fund 4 for roofing at about $500,000. We think we're going to be able to cover this out of Fund 4 without doing a lease purchase. So my recommendation would be to go with Midwest Bus Sales.
So we think you're purchasing all at once or spreading it out?
All at once. They assure us that we're going to get the buses this summer. I've heard nightmare stories about ordering a bus and not getting it for 16 months. So I was very happy when I heard that we were going to be able to get them.
Well, that leads into my next question. Do we pay up front and we wait for them to deliver, or do we pay after delivery?
I've never done this before.
Our money for 16 months.
Correct. I think I'm guessing we pay upon delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to sign, they're probably gonna send over a contract, we're gonna have to sign the contract and then the PO process, and get a check issued and all of that. They know how school districts work.
Right.
It has to go to the board for approval and all of that. So,
We just don't want them holding our
you're correct.
money. With big cards in it.
When I speak to them, I will tell them. They're not
Where is
So-
Midwest?
Mr. Jones, where's Midwest Bus Sales at?
They have a couple different locations, but Illinois is where their main headquarters is.
And are we retiring 4 buses then?
Yeah.
I'm gonna defer to the transportation.
We have 4 buses that Midwest came and get $1,500 a piece for them.
Traded.
That's if they make it to that depot that they got to get to.
You can't drag it, haul it.
We're gonna get them
So it's like a trade-in. We just sell
there.
it.
Yeah, we get $1,500 trade-in for the 4. The 4 we're sending, not only it's time, if there was anything good on them, we've already stripped them down. We changed out batteries and tires. We're ready to go.
Oh, my God.
They suspect that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Buses.
Wow.
Is there a war who gets to drive the new buses?
We're gonna go with the seniority on that because I do think that is the path of least resistance. But some schools, they will constantly rotate that around, and we're not going to do that. You get one shot and a new bus, take care of it. So we'll have those conversations, but it won't take long, and you'll have most of your people in. Right now we're at 10+ years on it, so it'll work out.
It's probably a stupid question to ask, but are they at all fuel efficient, more than what we currently have?
Probably not.
I mean, with that engine and everything else.
And they at least have air conditioning.
I did see that.
Yeah, so,
That's,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my 65-year-old dad's gonna tell me that kids don't need air conditioning. I agree with you, they do.
He hasn't sat in one of those seats lately where you stick to it.
Yeah. Well, we can do that on Come Drive a Bus Day if you want.
How many miles you got on those buses?
We have all the ones that we're trading in.
They're all here.
We're well over 2, maybe 1 or 2 approaching 3. I mean, yeah.
1, 2.
Yeah. They're way up there. And what it does too, also, then 4 buses that are going to, some of the new buses that are going, some drivers are going to, it's going to domino effect.
Yeah.
Get a little better bus to everyone.
So like when you buy a new car, they come with all these fancy things that no car can have. These new buses come with those kind of safety things.
They're going to be an upgrade from everything that we have out there, but we didn't really go over the top on any of that. I don't think it's necessary other than the air conditioning. But they're going to have, radio and things like that. Now, we will have to also purchase the cameras and the CD radios. And, that's to come after this. But otherwise, no, they're pretty, your basic schools.
Do they smell good? Can you-
Of course.
After the first month,
That's
right?
like, that smells.
Second week
First,
of August.
right.
So we want to smell it, go out before school starts.
So why don't you take it away?
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Midwest Bus Sales to purchase 4 new buses.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. There you go. 4 new buses.
There we go, 4 new buses.
Next on the agenda, we have the addition of a position, Root Ed Advisor.
So we applied for this grant last year. The money ran out, so they didn't add any new schools last year. They came over to the MAAA meeting and did a presentation. Most of the other MAAA schools have a Root Ed Advisor and say even if funding runs out, we're going to keep it because it is well worth it. Basically what this advisor does is assures that every senior that leaves your school has a direction, whether it's directly to the workforce, armed forces, 2-year school, 4 years, whatever. They work with them to make sure that their ICAP is in place. They've got that 4-year plan. They're working towards it. They can get them industry recognized credentials to go out in the workforce. It's to build a relationship with each senior so that that senior feels like when they leave secondary, they are ready for their post-secondary career, regardless of what that is. Funding from the state came in last year at $23,090. We received a grant for a full-time position. If it comes in similar to that, they did add several new schools because the funding was there. It should be somewhere around there, and then the district has to cover the other portion of that salary and benefits for that individual. But it's a partnership through the Missouri Career Advising Initiative. And basically, they use the Root Ed Advisor framework. And in your packet, you will see the job description that they provided to us and the expectations in the MOU of what our responsibility is, what their responsibility is. We feel like we were excited about last year, having the opportunity to do it. And really what this will do is take off of Mr. Toom's plate all of the career advising stuff, which he loves doing, but it pulls him away from being a counselor and dealing with those everyday issues that students have. So it's a trickle-down effect there too, and it allows him to do more counselor duties rather than just, because I think he meets with all the seniors. John might be able to talk about
He meets
this.
with them twice a year. He meets with them once in the fall and once in the spring, and that use won't change, but his focus will then turn more towards, as Dr. Taylor said, responsive services, but also focusing on making sure that our seniors have the right credits in order to be able to graduate, being able to have more intentional conversations along those lines. And so that extra support will be really good. It also ties in, Dr. Taylor talked about having a career plan. Root Ed prides itself in the fact that 100% of the students that participate in the program have a career path or a career plan after graduation. Also, 100% of the students have participated in some type of job shadowing opportunity. So that will definitely be focus moving forward. I can tell you, we're not there as far as the job shadowing. We have very few students that actually take advantage of that, and part of that is because we just don't have time to be able to get out and promote that. And so having an individual that's really dedicated for that direction and that vision is going to help just expose our students to more opportunities. We had 47 seniors this past year that participated in some type of internship. And so all of those are great opportunities, but we still have another 80, 85 students within the graduating class that haven't been exposed to that. And so this is going to really try to bridge that gap and help in that area with some additional assistance.
So this is basically seniors? Okay.
It's going to be a lot of senior focus, but I
It could
think
be
it
anybody.
will also trickle down to the younger grades as they prepare them to get to that point. So like right now, our senior grade level team works very intensively with our senior advisories. And so we actually have senior advisory specialists coming on this year that are going to focus just on helping with scholarships, helping with college applications. So their focus now, and they're going to become experts. So next year they'll have seniors again. The following year they'll have seniors
Oh,
again.
that's
So they
awesome.
be very intentional with that in our advisory level. And so we're really excited about all of this potentially coming together really at the same time.
And we definitely need that. That's good.
Yeah, and with the transition and the focus on our market value assets and making sure that our students graduate with some type of, whether it be an industry recognized credential or college credit or things that are going to make them marketable after high school.
Right.
I was even thinking about to drive in this position, really, we're going to be able to work so closely and identify kids at the beginning of the year. Usually, Mr. Toombs and I sit down at Christmas time and we go through our market value assets and we identify, all right, where are kids at? Well, I'm sorry, if we're trying to get an experience for kids, that's too late.
Right.
And so really we need to be identifying that earlier. We need to really be more intentional at the junior level, maybe even at the sophomore level, being intentional with figuring out what are those opportunities and then allowing those kids to be able to make connections.
That's great.
So we're excited about that.
That's great.
Right, because if they think they want to be in a certain career, it really changes what kind of school or whatever they might
Mhm.
want to go to, which is by the time you're a senior,
Right.
it's almost, it's kind of
Or even the
late.
focus on college credits. We offer so many dual credit opportunities, but then sometimes kids have to pick and choose just based on the cost. And
Right.
so if they know that, if they have a better focus in a better direction, and we have an individual in that place, they can work with them to identify, all right, this college will accept this, and this is where you want to go. So now we can be intentional with what dual credit opportunities or what dual credit classes you'll take here. So for example, like if a student goes to Rolla, they are going to want calc taken at Rolla. Well, that doesn't do them any good to take calc with us through SEMO. And so it's just making those connections and making sure that our students have those opportunities.
That's great.
And we're hoping we'll have a grant next year as well.
And that's what I asked the other MAAA superintendents that currently have the grant. What if the money runs out?
Right.
And we don't care. This position is so beneficial that we're going to fund it ourselves. And it's not.
It's needed.
The hope
Yeah.
is that that portion of the grant.
Right.
It's been there for 6 years.
I think it's
7
about, yeah.
years.
Great.
Yes, I think holistically it helps with the portion of a graduate, right? Like getting them market
Yeah,
value
yeah.
asset.
With the direction we're moving, I mean, everything Dr. Boyd said aligns with everything that we're already talking about. So it's almost needed. When you talk to Mr. Toombs, he'll tell you, like, it's a lot, just that portion is a lot.
Because you talk about scheduling the FAFSA night, you talk about our college and career fair, so they're going to be able to help and really coordinate and run a lot of that planning for those events. And so Mr. Toombs and Mrs. Brumfield have done such an amazing job with our college and career fair, but it's now time to be able to figure out how can we take that to the next level. But if we have somebody that's really intentionally focused on working on that front, we can better make connections for our students with that. So we've been able to provide, I don't know, we've had over 40 between colleges and local businesses that have participated in that college and career fair the last couple of years, but how can we get that to continue to expand and how can we get more opportunities for our students?
And they support this position with a conference that every new hire for a root ed advisor is required to go to. So it's 2 days, I know, that they have to go get trained. So every root ed advisor is trained in the same manner.
I'll make a motion to approve the addition of a root ed advisor at St. Genevieve High School for the 2025-26 school year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the audit engagement letters.
Yes, in your packet, you will see a letter from BSync Hay, Rowe, and Stroder, LLC, with signed audit engagement letter.
And we're not due for a contract with them again, correct?
Correct.
This is just to kick off the.
Yeah, this is just their engagement letter.
I'll make it.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You have any more comments?
That's okay.
Sorry, catch you up. Motion to approve the engagement letter of BSync Hay, Rowe, and Stroder LLC to audit the financial statements of the St. James County R2 School District for the year ending on June 30th, 2025.
Second. Okay.
I think Jim.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And we have the 2026 fiscal year budget.
What you've all been waiting for. I provided you with the budget book, which has some colored tabs on it. I'm just going to go through an introduction and kind of the front of the budget book, kind of hit the highlights for this fiscal year, any adjustments that we might have. In the front of your book, you will see a budget letter from me, basically covering specifics of this particular budget. The next page has a budget message with adjustments and additions, and I'm going to go through those. We covered increases in insurance benefits and utility costs, the Early Childhood Center additions, which were 3 teachers, 1 process coordinator, 1 nurse, addition of a building secretary, parents as teachers educator, and 2 teacher aide paraprofessionals, and a head cook. We added a district psychological examiner / 504 case manager, 1 third grade teacher at St. Genevieve Elementary. We added a special education teacher split between St. Gen Elementary and Bloomsdale Elementary. We split a position into district food service coordinator and a district core data district registrar. We adopted the resources necessary for student programs and services. And the following salary and benefit adjustments. Certified, $1,500 increase to the base salary, which will bring it to $45,500. Allowing normal movement on the salary schedule, all benefits adjusted based on salary increase. Continued board paid health, dental, vision. We maintained board paid life at $30,000 and continued the subsidy of the community center membership. For support staff, we allowed normal movement on the salary schedule. For lanes 1 through 13, we increased 54 cents of the base salary. For lane 14, bus drivers, we increased that 25 cents. All benefits adjusted based on salary increases. We continued board paid health, dental, and vision. Maintained board paid life at $30,000. Continued subsidy of the community center membership. We maintained substitute teacher pay and incentives. And then we continued the mileage reimbursement rate at 45 cents a month. We then have several pages of Missouri school finance information. This is information from the prior year's finance manual. The new manual will be out July 1st.
Before we move on, does this also include the wellness benefit?
No, it does not. That's one thing I missed from that section in the front.
Are we looking to continue that though?
Yes, sir. I think we had a very successful wellness expo. Dr. Mercer did a fantastic job as the district wellness coordinator for that. Our hope is to continue that. So that was just an addition.
Okay. Do the numbers reflect it or not?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was more worried.
Listed.
Okay.
At the end of that, you will see the certified salary schedule. Right after that, classified salary schedule, extra duty salary schedule. And then we get to the yellow tab, which is the 3-year revenue comparison. Rather than spending a lot of time, 1 year of revenue and expenditures can get overwhelming. This is 3 years of revenue. It can get really overwhelming, so I just wanted to highlight. If we're ever interested in what we've spent in a prior year, and what we budgeted current year, that's on the 3-year comparison for revenue. Same thing for a 3-year comparison for expenditure. If you'll go to the orange tab, that's the 3-year, the beginning of the 3-year expense comparison. If you then scroll to the pink tab, you will see a budget summary. And these are basically expenditure and revenue numbers for all of the budget information that we entered for fiscal year 26. If you will notice in Fund 1, projected balances are down 1.5 million. I looked back at last year at our original budget, and we were at a deficit of 1.8 million. So we're a little better than we were last year. Most of that deficit is from increased salaries and benefits And if you look at the projected transfer from Fund 1 to Fund 2, that 12,474,000, that's salaries and benefits that are being transferred over. Fund 3, those numbers are given to us by LJ Hart. Those should be pretty on point with accuracy. And then Fund 4, 8 million being expended. That's Prop SG monies finishing up those projects. And so we're anticipating a $423,000 surplus in Fund 4. Hopefully it'll be a little better than that. We're pretty aggressive with expenditures there. So once we get through our Prop SG monies and finish those projects, the expenditures, if you'll notice the revenue on the right-hand side under total is 33.4 million and expenditures are 41.6 million. That's showing a discrepancy there because we've received Prop SG money in a prior year. So that revenue is not going to show up in this year.
So that 423 number, the projected balance in Fund 4, that's really the balance after all Prop SG money spent, what we have left remaining in there, correct?
Correct.
And that would go to things like capital improvements, right? So like
Renovations, updates. If you think about the money that we have earmarked in there for football field, baseball field, softball field updates, every year we earmark a little bit more money so that when we get to needing to resurface one of those, that money is in there.
And one question you mentioned earlier about the roofing with the hail damage. Are most of our roofs at this point replaced or scheduled to be replaced with?
Scheduled to be replaced, yes.
So we don't foresee like in the next 5 years having to replace roofs unless there's more damage.
I would hope 10 is closer, 10 years is closer to that. We have all new roofing. Yeah, unless there's additional damage or movement that occurs, we should be in good shape. You never want, this wasn't optimal. You always want to have a rotating schedule for roof replacement. This is like purchasing all 30 buses at the same time and then they all get old at the same time. It's not something you want to do. You want to phase them in, which is why we're purchasing 4 buses. We had a plan worked out where we were going to replace roofs over the next 3 or 4 years and step them in so that they're not all at the same time. With the hail damage that came through, it just makes sense to do it all.
I guess the point I want to make is not sitting on a boatload of cash, just sitting here in capital improvements.
Correct. Most of that
spent,
money
most
is
spent.
earmarked for ball fields and improvements. If we then go to the purple sticky note, I want to cover several individual items here. If you look at 5111 current taxes, you'll see that total is at 19.6 million. Last year we were at 19.3, so that's up just a little bit. I think it has a potential of being a bit higher. Depends on the amount of items that are protested this upcoming year. It also depends, I'm sure you all got the letter like I did from Linda on the increase in property. So there's a potential here for a little bit higher revenues. Without knowing it for sure, I didn't want to over project.
And then is the senior citizen projected in there too?
So yes, while you get an increase, a letter from Linda saying, hey, we have to increase it this much, we have an unknown sitting out here with that SB 190. How many people are going to sign up for it? What's that potential impact? So we have to be a little more conservative.
And they have to sign up for that every year.
Every year they have to sign up.
You shared with us last month, the one before, that could be $50.
Yes.
And that's it, everyone applied. It's
Yes. Since then, I received some information. I asked Michelle Gatzmeyer if we could get some census information on how many people could qualify for it, and it came in quite a bit higher than the number I thought it was going to be. So the potential is between 50 and 100,000.
This is a question for Linda more than you, but so with the reassessed values, what's going to be the base with Senate Bill 190? Is it what it was in, say, 2024, or is it 2025 value?
We talked about, I went to a meeting on SB 190 and how the county was going to implement that. I think I remember Lisa Marshall saying it would be 25, 26. Don't hold me to that because we talked about a lot of information there. There's some question. The problem with this bill is there's nothing spelled out. Each county is doing it how they interpret it. So we're looking at surrounding counties. How are they doing it? What works for them? What makes sense? So we're trying to do it in a way, I think they're trying to do it in a way where it's minimizing any legal kickback that might come back after the fact. But there's no way to do that when the text in the bill doesn't spell it out and how it's supposed to be done.
To make it even more muddy, the bill that passed in special session says you can't increase it more than 5% per year. In some counties it's no change, some counties it's no 0%. But we were in the 5%. Yeah, it makes it hard to predict your
Sure
revenue.
does. Yes, it sure does. If you look at 5112 delinquent taxes, we came in at 450. Last year it was 474. That's pretty variable. It just depends year to year. 5113 Proposition C money, we're at 2.5 million. Last year it was 2.6. Earnings on temporary investments. Last year we were at 1.225. This year we're at 720. And if you think about that, we've had that Prop SG money invested. And so as it is sitting there, it's earning interest for us. It's getting depleted and depleted and depleted. So that interest amount is going to decrease this next year. 5311 state monies. DESE has a calculation sheet for this. We put in our information. Last year we were at just over 3 million. This year it came in at 2.5 million. State transportation.
Sorry, can you repeat that again? I was flipping pages.
That's okay.
Yeah.
State money's 5311. Last year we were just over 3 million. This year that calculation sheet came in at 2.545.
So I was looking back at the 3-year comparison. That 2.545 is the number of DESE.
They give us a calculation, and we put in our number for all of that. You have to keep in mind, this year we were supposed to get 6760.
Right.
State adequacy target. We just received an email that said, well, the money wasn't there, you're getting 6750. So we're in June for the current school year, and they're telling us this. Next year, it's supposed to go up to 7145. The governor has until June 30th to sign. He took the 300 million out that would get us to the 7145 in his original budget. The Senate and House put it back in and passed it. So now it's sitting on his desk. Will he sign it? Will he withhold? We're not sure. So we'll know that June 30th. So all of that unknown is out there. Where's that going to be? We were told to be somewhat reserved in our estimation of that 7145. So a lot of superintendents came in at 6,900 rather than that. Some of them stayed at our current year thinking, well, he took it out.
What he wanted to do in the first place.
That's what he wanted to do in the first place. So some of them were being a little more conservative. I'm right in the middle.
So what's your SAT on this one here you're saying?
I think I came in 6760. I think I came in at 6850. I could have pushed it to 6900.
Okay. That's
So this 2545 figure is that SAT.
That SAT used in the calculation sheet.
But it also includes those new percentages for free and reduced lunch.
Correct.
Okay. So it is.
and I see our increased enrollment, right? Is the incoming kindergarten class bigger than this exiting senior class?
I'd have to look.
Was it a big senior class? It was relatively big, wasn't it?
122, 124.
It's bigger than the last one we
Yeah.
had, but the junior class that we have in high school right now, or Wilton High School is large. Yeah. Seniors are pretty average.
Yeah, the last couple of years, our membership numbers have increased. I think I celebrated last year when we went over 1,800. It's up a little bit this year to keep it better.
Cool. So I just want to ask a question. Sure. Basic formula payments come throughout the year,
Every month.
calculated at the SAT that's approved.
Incorrect, no. DESI runs based on revenue, current revenue, percentage of revenue received, and they're constantly watching it, and it's adjusted from month to month.
Every month.
Every month.
Never the same
It's
SAT.
never the same.
Month to month.
Not
It could be, but the majority of the time they're adjusting it. So if revenue in the state is down significantly, they will take it down. If revenue in the state is up, they'll creep up towards it, but they'll never get to it until that last payment, which is why we haven't been at 6760 all year. We've been short of that. They've anticipated revenues coming in short of that, so if they would have paid us on that all year, we would get a very small.
That was my
payment.
concern, is they're gonna pay us $760 all year and then make the entire adjustment in June, but they're not doing
They do not do that. They attempt to pick where they think it's going to be based on revenues for every month up until that.
I think, Dave, Caitlin explained it in the summer summit, was technically, I think the governor can
Withhold.
strike the 300, but he can withhold it if he thinks the revenue is not going to be enough, which is
based on
effectively
the consensus revenue estimate, which is currently not meeting.
basically the same thing as striking it out, but technically it's not striking it out.
Even though there's billions of dollars in reserve.
And money for vouchers.
Josh and I could just put on a
It's hard.
podcast. if anybody wants to listen. Anyway, thank you, sir.
You bet. Any other questions?
Not on that.
Uh,
I do have one more. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me correct my prior statement. So on 5111, that I was looking at the prior year, that 19.6, which is approximately where we're going to land this year. Is your budget for next year? Is that right?
I had 19,390 prior year. Is that not?
Oh,
correct?
yeah, it is. I thought I saw that. Okay. But we're going with 19.6 because we know.
That number can be variable based upon 190, the assessment, and cap.
That's it for now.
5312, state transportation. For the past couple years, we've been right at $1 million. The weird thing with transportation is reimbursement for transportation is based on prior year data. So we've been reimbursed this year for transportation based on a contracted situation with Fowler Bus and our contract amount. We saved, Ken did a great job this year. We saved quite a bit of money. What that means is next year we are going to receive less reimbursement because of that savings. Here's the trade-off. Our efficiency over the past several years has been terrible. We've been, I think this last year we were at 114% efficiency. They want you to stay at 105% or less. Once you get over 105%, you start receiving a penalty from the state, less money reimbursed. So, with eliminating 2 bus routes, our efficiency theoretically should improve. So while our reimbursement rate is going down because we're saving money, our efficiency should go up, getting us more reimbursement.
That's good.
That's a fun.
What's the efficiency measure?
I showed Ken the calculation sheet and we both stared for a while. It is a really complicated sheet. You have to put in your rider membership on specific dates, and then they do it. It's just like calculating your average daily attendance. You have to put all this information in, and then it calculates all the efficiency. We have never had to dig into that because we were a contracted school district. Now that we're paying that bill and receiving that reimbursement, it makes more sense to be as efficient as you can and receive less of a penalty as you can. So we have to dig into there and get the membership, see where we were this year and how those 2 routes impacted our efficiency. Hopefully next year become more efficient.
So on those special count days, we're having chip parties.
Those are field trip days.
We used to have
Not
them
on my buses. That we did.
On my bus, we did. If you behave, you got a chip party.
If someone even makes eye contact with you, count them.
Count the parents standing out waiting.
Kind of like Oprah. You get a card, you get a card. You get counted, you
Yes.
get counted, you get counted.
5319, the Classroom Trust Fund. We were at 931,000 this past year. I took that up to $1 million for fiscal year 26. And then that brought us to an overall projection of 33,481,000. That is down 3 million from prior year. Last year we were at 36,858. So a little more conservative than we were last year. I think it's justified because of all the unknowns that we have, not only in the state legislature, but federal Department of Education and everything that we have going on. That takes us to expenses. That is the green tab.
One question, Paul, sorry, Dr. Taylor. We're down. What's the significant? I know we talked about each one without me digging in, looking. Which one is the biggest drop here that we're seeing in terms of like individual line items, the revenue? Because we went up in current taxes, right? 19.3 to 19.6.
Correct.
We're down 3 million.
Is it interest?
Interest is a big chunk.
A lot of it is that interest piece. We were at 1.225 last year. That's down to 720 this year. And then it's just $200,000 here, $300,000 there. It goes up to that.
Nothing crazy. It's okay. All right. Sorry.
That's okay. If we look at expenses, I'm just going to go through each building real quick. Both elementary schools, 4.915 million expenditures. Last year we were at 4.738, so that's up slightly. The middle school is right on par with where they were last year. They're at 2.220. Last year they were at 2.219. High school was at 2.954 last year. They're just over 3 million this year. Special education, 1.9 million last year, 2.1 million this year. I'm sorry, do you want me to give you the numbers? Am I going too fast?
No, you're,
Just looking for sped.
no, yeah, yeah.
Sped is 1,221.
Good luck, sped.
A lot of sped. Jimmy does a lot of work on that. I like just kind of highlighting athletics, 1421. We're down about $80,000. That's mostly equipment. Contracted vocational, we took it up about 20,000. Last year it was 137. This year it's 151. I always highlight the Board of Education, 2311. We're at 496,000. 18,000 of that is for the audit. 14,000 of that is for a potential board election, and then 400,000 of that, which we've budgeted the last several years, is for legal services. This current year, we were coming in at 285,000 spent out of that account. So we haven't maxed that out yet. My hope is that we won't.
Right.
But that legal bill comes in for that tax protest every year, and they put 75% of that. Maintenance and custodial, last year we were at 3.2 million. This year we're right at 3. That was 2,542.
Say the number again. We were at.
2,542.
I'm sorry, the dollar amount.
Oh, I'm sorry. This year we're right at 3 million. Last year we were at 3.2 million. This is exciting. 2,551 contracted people transportation is now 0. Down from 1.654 last year. Don't get to do that every day. Unfortunately, 2,552 transportation is 1.261 million. But if you look at that, the trade-off, for contracted transportation, we were at 1.6. And now for district-run transportation, we're at 1.2.
I want to underscore that we more efficient than what we were before, both literally and figuratively.
Yes, absolutely. And then 4031, legal services, we were at 10.755 last year. We're at 7.168 this year. That's architecture, engineering, and legal services. That's all our Prop SG money. and all of those projects have been spent. And then two more. 5111, debt service principal payment is 1.7 million. That's down slightly from last year. 5211 is debt service interest payment. That's 1.1 million. That's up slightly from last year. So our overall projection for expenditures this year is 41.6 million. That's down from 43.4 million last year. I think we have a better handle of not only the additional employees that we added last year, but also that transition from contracted to district-run transportation. I mean, last year at this time, we didn't even know what code district-run transportation is. We left it, everything where it was under contracted. So we had the numbers in the budget, but as we went through the year, we started to understand better how a district-run transportation should be coded, where it goes, how to handle it.
So Paul, Dr. Taylor, we didn't look at pre-K like 3512. I think we were opening a new center. We're gonna have a lot of expenses. So, I mean, I see the amount we have, but do we compare that with the 136? How do you compare?
What page?
Are you on 35?
Page 7273.
Yeah, I know. So how do you compare?
Okay, so you're looking at the 405,717?
Yeah.
If we go 12. Let me just set that.
Oh, actually.
If we go back to the 3-year comparison, you'll see that last year we were at 293,673.
Okay.
So we're at 405,717.
Okay.
So,
I just wondered what,
yeah.
I know,
and we've never opened an early childhood center before,
Yeah,
so that's an educated guess.
Yeah,
We hope to get close with that number.
yeah.
And Bethany's, I think, has worked with Dr. Drury. She's talked to me quite a bit about it.
Projected.
And she's probably reached out to a couple other early childhood directors.
Okay, good.
We're servicing more kids.
Oh, absolutely.
And the budget includes your best guess as to federal reimbursement. And this is hopefully.
Projected enrollment.
Okay.
I'll let
I know we talked about this in Ken's presentation, but what has been on contracted transportation?
Total last year was 1.8.
Oh,
1.8.
Now, you have to remember, our contract amount is 1.6 something. But then we have all the athletic
Right.
transportation.
And the fuel
we
was
have.
variable,
And
like,
fuel is variable, and so that got us to just over 1.8, I think, was in Kent's
and
presentation.
then we came in around 1.2, 1.3.
261.
We paid 1.2 million for everything,
Right at,
so the savings paid a third of that this year.
correct.
One thing we can consider is having the bikers less, but I mean,
True.
that's the one offset that we consider that, but
Because I'm
saving. But we thought we were gonna be 500 deficit. So I always like to point that out, because yes, we did save that from what we were paying Calvin, but we actually thought we were gonna be paying 500 more than we paid Calvin.
Yeah.
Which I think is
$900,000 left?
There you go.
Paul, question about the Federal Department of Education. So is the Title I, 2, and 4, is that what you were concerned about? So is it just those two funds, or is there more than 2212 and 2213?
I think Jamie gets a bit of federal reimbursement, do you? Yeah, for Part B. There's all these little pieces from the federal. Dr. McClark was just talking to me today about our decrease in the amount of Title I money that our allocation decreased, what, $100,000 from last year?
And they haven't even released how much we're getting for Title II.
So we're putting,
budget.
we're putting a budget together,
So it's-
attempting to,
So this is 380 and 194, quite a bit lower than what we got last year.
It will actually end up being, because they just released the Title I numbers before either of them. budget book.
So that number is based on what we received this past year.
It's gonna go down even more.
We received the allocation announcement, and
It's
the allocation is $100,000 less. So we created the budget as best we could, and it's already $100,000 off just because of that allocation difference.
Are these federal allocations?
They keep saying every time I hear someone interviewed about it is they want to release it back to the states. They want to give money to the states so it doesn't have to funnel through them because the states know better. Whether that happens or not, I've seen a lot of people losing their job and getting sent home.
It's just weird how the funding decreases, and it seems like the federal government seems to just have an open checkbook and just spend right now, so.
One last thing, if you turn to the very last page of the book, it is basically a summary with fund balances added. This is all wrong because it's based on current tax rate. Guess what we're doing in August? We're setting tax rate for next year. So we don't know the tax rate. We have to use our current tax rate. So we do that. We have to use our current estimated assessed valuations from this past year. So we do that. We like to throw this in there just to show you if assessed valuation and our tax rate stayed the same, our protested taxes amount stayed the same, and we still collect 63% of those funds, this is where we would be. So that ending balance, 630.26, we anticipate with this budget that we already know is a little off, 12.2 million in Fund 1, 2.8 million in Fund 3, and just over 500,000 in Fund 4.
And that leaves us approximately where as far as reserves?
That was not calculated.
But
That
it was
was not
pretty, pretty close to 40 based upon the fact that 15 times 2 is 30, and more than 33 in revenue, so.
It takes minimum salary certified to 45.5, correct?
Correct.
And then minimum salary on the lane 1,
1631,
1635.
35.
Yeah, one of the discussions they had at summer was the $15 an hour. Some schools are going to be impacted by that.
Listen, this board was very smart when they hired Dr. Julie Fleet because she started working on that year 1. She saw that $15 an hour coming, and every year she would push. We need to do this. We need to do this. We do not want to have to compete and lose good people to go work in town, fast food or wherever.
Right.
So she saw that very, very early and started working on that. I did want to take a moment to thank the ladies in the office. I would sit at my desk and put this together. It takes a team to put this together, from building principals putting their budgets together, directors putting their budgets together, Crystal collecting it all, organizing it, Megan pitching in wherever she can. She knows software in and out, putting employees. I have to put in packages for what I think salaries might be. I put in. For bachelor's degree people, certified people, I did 4 different packages. For 0 raise, just getting steps and lanes, going to $500 to $1,000 to $1,500 just to see where that puts us. And then I have to do it for Masters Plus, and then I have to do it for salary people. And putting those packages together is rough because we have people retiring, they're still in the system. We have new people coming in. Those people retiring are making much more money. The people coming in are making much less. Coding issues. We have a fantastic team over there. I cannot say enough about Megan, Donovan, and Crystal Roth and how they help me and keep me on track. Brittany pitches in, Erin pitches in. I know she does a lot of work. Jamie with coding and just brainstorming. It's a team over there, and they're fantastic. I'm not going to forget to mention Tina Hook and Lori Meyer. Anytime you need anything, they are there to help. It's great teamwork, and it takes a team to put it together. So I want to thank all of them for their work on this.
Whoever came up with the color code, is a genius.
I know, Joe, I like it too. Yeah, we did, but yes, thank you. We have an amazing school district, everybody. Everybody. You can't say one thing or everybody's good.
Any other budget questions? Thank you for the breakdown.
Guess we can see them.
I'll make a motion to approve the following budget items for the 25-26 school year. Adopt the new budget for the 25-26 school year. Increase bus driver hourly rate by 25 cents and allow regular step movements on the support staff salary scale. Increase all other hourly pay rates by 54 cents and allow regular step movements on the support staff salary scale. Increase the base teacher salary $1,500, allow regular step and lane movements, and allow additional degree stipends to be applied for certified staff.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any personnel changes approved during closed session this evening will be provided in the draft meeting minutes within 72 hours of adjournment. I just need a motion to adjourn, resume closed session.
Okay, I make a motion that the Board of Education adjourn the open session of the regular meeting and resume the closed meeting, closed record, and a closed vote for purposes listed in the revised Missouri statute, section 610.021.
Motion and a second. Mr. Bosler? Yes. Mr. Kirschner? Yes. Ms. Reesinger?
Yes.
Ms. Diesel?
Yes.
So, yes. Mr. Gallagher?
Yes.
Ms. Gould?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.